All right, folks, thanks for coming out this evening. It's our January 24th Borough Council meeting. If everybody could rise and salute the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and roll call, please, Angela.
Saba Al-Zayed.
Here.
Amy High.
Here.
James Fee.
Here.
Megan Nolan.
Here.
Diane Gundrum.
Here.
Tony Heil.
Here.
Kyle Shank.
Here.
Mr. President, we were in executive session from 7 o'clock to 7:30 with regard to personnel issues as well as real estate.
Thank you, Mr. Bello. And before we do go any further, just for the record, Angela, I know Mayor Jax here is not here this evening. She's on a work trip up to Massachusetts.
All right, good evening, everybody. First up on the agenda for council consideration is Resolution 2023-4, appointing an alternate member to the Civil Service Commission. Members of council, members of the audience, one of our current members of the Civil Service Commission has served for a very long time. He's getting up there in the years, and he has voiced a desire to ride off into the sunset after many great years of service. So we have been advertising over the last couple months, looking for vacancies or applicants to fill a vacancy as an alternate on the Civil Service Commission, with the premise being get somebody on board, have them serve underneath the current 3 members of the commission for an undetermined amount of time, but get some experience under their belt, and then allow this member to retire, resign, step down from the board, and the alternate would then take over as a full-time member. That being said, I will turn it back to council for consideration.
This would just be a motion to appoint. We wouldn't need to open for nominations or anything, right?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Then I will make a motion to appoint Deshaun Williams to the Civil Service Committee.
I'd like to abstain from the vote.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
I'll second the nomination.
Well, we have a motion from Ms. Nolan, seconded by Ms. Gundrum, to appoint Mr. Deshaun Williams to the Civil Service Commission, and Councilwoman Saba will be recusing herself from this vote. I got the right word. Thank you. Go ahead.
I know, Angela.
Great. Any questions or comments from council or the public? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you. Mr. Williams, thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Williams. And on that note, I would ask Mr. Williams to come up to the podium, and Assistant Manager Long can conduct the oath ceremony.
Do you want Bible or Constitution? Bible's fine. Bible's good? Okay. I'm going to have you put your left hand on here and your right hand up. And you're just going to repeat after me. I, Deshaun Williams, do solemnly swear
I, Deshaun Williams, do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and I will discharge my duties of this office with fidelity.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll be in touch soon, all right?
Thank you.
Sorry. I just need you to sign there and sign there for me.
Mr. Williams, you're welcome to hang out, but you certainly don't have to. It's not that riveting of an agenda. Okay, thanks.
Next up for council consideration, Resolution 2023-5, authorizing application to the Keystone Communities Grant Program for what we're calling the LED Community Engagement Board Project with a price tag estimated of $50,000. Members of council, we had the good fortune of being notified by Senator Capoletti's office late last year that she had worked her magic or her influence and obtained a $50,000 grant for the borough through the DCED's Keystone Communities Grant. The plan is to utilize this money on a two-sided, high-resolution LED signboard that would be erected out front of Borough Hall. In fact, when we did the Borough parking lot back in 2019, electrical conduit was already run out to the front of our parking lot with because we anticipated purchasing this LED sign or a sign of this nature ultimately one day. So $50,000 is the kind of the minimum project cost for the Keystone Communities Grant. There is no local match required, so if we can pay for the entire project and keep it under $50,000 or at $50,000, no borough outlay would be required, and I think that that's certainly possible. $50,000 should get us a pretty nice, pretty high-tech LED sign at this point. It'd be about 3 feet tall by 6 feet wide, and it would also be elevated on a signpost to keep it out of harm's way insofar as pedestrians and potential vandalism. So obviously you can never foolproof or fail-safe against any vandalism, but putting it up on a tall post is a heck of a good start. And with that, part of the requirements to apply to this grant is a local resolution supporting application, and that's what this document is.
Motion?
I'll second.
Motion from Councilwoman Al-Zayed, seconded by Mr. Heil for a resolution regarding the Keystone Community Grant Program. And before we vote on it, I just want to make sure we put into the record thanks to Senator Capoletti. Last year she had spoken to us a few times and said that she was going to look for some grant money for a public amenity for Bridgeport, and she came through with that. So muchas gracias to the Senator's office. With that, any other questions or comments?
Well, thanks to the senator, and also thanks, Keith, because I know we've been talking about this in committees and at meetings for years, and I think it's going to really professionalize the look of the streetscaping that we're looking to do with other things with our long-term planning and the new development. So this is the kind of thing that really it's small in a way, but it really elevates the look here. So again, I second it.
Thank you, Vice President Heil. And President Schenk, I didn't know you spoke French.
Yeah, it's learned a few things in college. Questions from the public? All right, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on. For council consideration, authorization to purchase a new fire command vehicle from the Whitmoyer Auto Group, and the price tag for this vehicle would be $44,500. Members of council, in your packets, you have a copy of the purchase order for this vehicle. This vehicle would replace the white 2014, 2015 Ford Explorer that is currently serving as the fire department's command vehicle. The reason that we are replacing that vehicle is last year, as a response to Hurricane Ida, the fire companies, the borough purchased for the fire companies a trailer with 2 rescue boats. And they need a vehicle that has the towing capacity to be able to pull the trailer with the boats around. And the Ford Explorer comes up about 3,500 pounds short insofar as towing capacity. So hence the replacement of that vehicle. This purchase was authorized when the capital budget was adopted last fall, and is within the financial constraints that we laid out in said capital budget. I would note that there will be additional expenses once we take ownership of the car in order to upfit it to the necessary, the fire department technology and decals. Yes.
What's the lead time on this?
If council opts to proceed with this purchase, we could take ownership of this vehicle next week.
Great. Cool.
Well, I know from talking that we have a robust capital budget right now capabilities, and I appreciate the management to do that. So I will make the motion to authorize purchase.
A second.
Motion's from Mr. Heil and second by Ms. Nolan to authorize the purchase of the fire command vehicle. Questions or comments from council or the public? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you.
All right, next up for council consideration, authorization to pay bills and salaries for the month of January 2023.
Make the motion.
Second.
The motion was from Ms. Alzad, seconded by Ms. Gundrum, to pay the people. Questions or comments from council or the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Moving on to unfinished business. Are there any items of unfinished business that need to be, business that need to be addressed by any members of the sitting at the dais up here this evening? All right. Seeing none, we can proceed to committee reports. Are there any committee reports to share? Very good. We will skip over the mayor's report as Mayor Jaxier is away on business and proceed to the chief's report. Chief Beretta.
Good evening, everyone. For the mayor, she's going to hold her office hours this coming Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the first floor Borough Hall, the 28th of January. So anyone who wants to come on out, even though she's not here right now, she will be there this coming Saturday for her office hours. Secondly, I want to thank Chaplain Aaron Craig from Bridgeport's First Presbyterian. He took up the challenge to go to the basic chaplains course. We're going to create a policy and kind of make more official as time goes on. Chaplains within the organization, they can be very helpful dealing with families, dealing when we have struggles, disasters, and whatever else like that. So they know how to work well with police, fire, for a more unified approach to it.
And that's a chaplain for the police department or for our?
Yeah, so he's a pastor for First Pres, and he would also then become a chaplain for the police department. I put that besides Pastor Aaron, but Bishop Luis from the Pentecostal Church, Flowing Waters Pentecostal Church on Depot Street. But Pastor Aaron's the first one to get through the course, so he's be very helpful. He's already been very helpful. It's just trying to formalize some relationships.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Just to remind some folks, a couple things. We had a camera program, and all the camera program is for Bridgeport Police Department is to let us know that you have cameras. So if you can call in and talk to Dave in reception or myself, we'll note your name, address, cell phone number, email address, and in what areas your cameras cover. If we can codify that or record all of these things, then I can pin map it. So as time goes on, when we have crimes, rather than hit or miss and having guys look for cameras and knock door to door, we can automatically have like a pin map with them on there. So it's just better to do it than happenstance. So talk to your friends and neighbors, please, and get back to us for that.
Hey, Chief, would it be maybe possible to get a stack of cards printed up that we could, just so folks could have on hand? If we're talking to somebody in town, we could say, here's, fill out the information and snap a picture of it and send it in, or drop it off at Borough Hall?
Absolutely. Some just recent criminal investigations. We had a catalytic converter theft, 300-unit block of West 8th Street. We also, I think I remarked last time, but we had thefts from motor vehicles at Bridgeport Suites, 2nd Street, Mill Street, 3rd Street, and the Just Enough Lounge. And all of those subsequently, theft from motor vehicles with forced entry were cleared by arrest of the subject, and he's still in jail. So thanks for the work of our police officers for taking care of those issues. That's all I have for you tonight.
All right, thank you, Chief Beretta. Moving on to new business. Do any members of council have new business for this evening?
Mr. Truman, I should have asked you when we were discussing the vehicle. We'll be keeping the old vehicle, right? We're not trading in a vehicle or disposing of any vehicles?
That is correct. At least at this time, the intention is to keep the vehicle. It is relatively new. It's only 8 years old now in terms of model year, and I think it has about 50,000 miles on it. So it certainly has some utility left in it for our fleet.
President Shea, can I recover a couple minutes? A couple things I wanted to.
Please, Chief.
Did you say police chief or please chief?
Please, police chief.
Okay. Just year end. If you're going to look on the Bridgeport site, we're going to post, or we'll have posted, a bunch of statistics. Usually we redirect everybody to the state site, but starting this year for 2022, I've actually posted the UCRs on there, so you can see what crimes did we have, what crimes were cleared, what crimes were different in categories between 2022 and 2021. Our clearance rates actually pretty good. The most difficult one is vandalism. So when you have criminal mischief stuff, so how do we do that? We use cameras, we talk around and try to be able to resolve some of those other crimes, because those things really bother people. They bother me when it happens to my property, and they bother everyone else just as much. So please take a look at that on our website. You'll see the calls that we had for the year, those different kind of crimes, parking tickets and so forth for the year. And just to give you an idea of the kind of calls, just volume-wise, from the Montgomery County Dispatch, we would have had 5,783 calls. Now, some of those don't automatically mean that we have to write a report or conduct an investigation. It could be a follow-up call, but that just gives you an idea of call volume. You can look at other police departments to see what similar sized police departments would do, like 43,000 for Norristown, and so on. For some boroughs, we're pretty high up there with numbers for boroughs. So it just gives you an idea, but take a look at our website and you can take a look at the statistics, just to give you an idea of what crimes we've had if you don't look at the weekly blotters. So also take a look at the weekly blotters. If you ever have any questions, just call down to the police department.
Chief, on that, with statistics, it's hard to kind of put into context how things are now versus 5 or 10 years ago. We don't need this information today, but at some point it'd be great to kind of get a good sense of where those clearance rates or crime rates are compared to 10 years ago or something like that, because we've had so many changes in the borough. And I think it's very easy for people to understandably look back and say, oh, things are different than they were then. But I think in a lot of ways, it's the clearance rates and going after those things are a lot better than they were. But it's kind of hard to know that without the statistics.
Sure, absolutely.
And then one other thing, I heard from our district attorney, Montgomery County District Attorney recently, and I know that one of the top issues, not just from his office or from other offices in the last few years and forever how many crimes are linked to domestic violence. And when I've been talking with police officers here just to ask how they're doing, they say that that's one of the top issues of serious crimes are connected to partner abuse or threats of abuse. Just since we're talking about these issues now, just please keep out what the best way it is for people to or notify the police of issues in their neighborhood or someone so they can be safe about getting that information to them, because I know that that's probably one of the higher up serious crimes that you guys deal with.
Absolutely. And, you know, a lot of times it's great to be open to people. Like I'll get Facebook messengers at midnight or whatever. And the whole point is we want to have more extensive relationships and a higher degree of communication with everybody. So that's good. The point is that sometimes people say, you know what, this happened, and Chief, if you tomorrow or the next day, if you could look at this, or I just want to let you know. I'm like, okay, well, you know, you could call the police when this is occurring. Call us when something's going down. There is sometimes an issue with people that don't want to bother us. Call 911. Just call. Call 911. You're not bothering us. I think the fear is people are concerned that it's taking a police officer away from something else. We just constantly reprioritize, and that happens all the time. Sometimes we could have a very quiet night or a quiet day, and then you could have 20-some calls in a day. So it's not a big issue to reprioritize, but call when things are going on. If you hear loud noises, you hear banging, a lot of these houses are close together. Call, because inevitably when you speak to people after the fact, sometimes they'll say, oh yeah, we knew. We always knew that this was a problem. Or I said, so I noticed there wasn't a phone call. So call. What we want to do is to intercede in domestic violence cases. And if there's a recent sign of physical injury under Pennsylvania Title 18, the Pennsylvania Crimes Code for 2711, it says we shall arrest. So there's times where we want to find out additional information, but we are going to make arrests for signs of physical violence. We do that because they understand on the lethality scales that it will cut down on recidivism. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that violent crime, if it does, and partner crime is part of that, that we can stop it or stop the negative cycle of trauma by interceding and, if necessary, make an arrest. So, yeah, those things happen, and we make arrests every week for domestic violence. And, you know, everybody that we arrest for domestic violence because of the type of crime has to be arraigned by a judge. So that occurs. And when you look at the commonalities across the board for this, drugs and alcohol added to an already volatile situation, many times you'll see that there's a level of intoxication in that. And so you see how it destabilizes a home environment. So yeah, please call. It is one of those things that we go to all the time, and it is something that we make arrests on a not necessarily daily basis, but usually at least once or twice a week.
Yeah, and I, not to belabor the point, but I know at least one of the unfortunate mass shootings happening this week, they quickly linked it to the shooter being another man who had abused his wife or girlfriend, and it seems to be a very common occurrence when there's a mass shooting is a girlfriend or wife who had been abused in some way, shape, or form, and it kind of escalates from there to bigger problems. So maybe at some point in the season, like spring or this year, we should do some more education about how people can report, maybe through the school, but it just seems like something that can really escalate, and I think for hopefully all of us, we don't see that in our own lives, but when we don't see it, you don't think to make it a priority in terms of public attention. So I appreciate what your department's doing on it. I know it's always a top thing, but the more we can do to raise attention to it and how people can address the issue, I think will be better for everybody. So thank you.
My pleasure.
One last question. On the website that you guys have put up, is there any understanding of like how we fare in comparison to other cities around us or other towns around us in terms of crime rates?
So you can see our statistics. I have statistics just generally on call volume for other places, but closure rates. The lowest clearance rate that we have is probably about 14% for last year for vandalism, and generally higher. You're talking about 50% and higher for most things, and then there's the clearance by arrest. I don't have any statistics here that says necessarily what West Country or Norristown has for clearance rates. They're going to be different in a different kind of crime, but I can draw up and give people an idea of what they might be to see, where do we fit in on those kind of crimes. So our crime might be a little bit different. What are our clearance rates? So I can do that.
Yeah, not to add any more work, just kind of trying to understand, is it a safer space to live in or not, basically? Because I think, with all the new stuff that's coming in, I think it's nice to kind of reassure people that we are a really safe community, kids can play outside. I think it's one of the things that attracted me to move here, so just curious. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, very good. Any other new business this evening? Okay, seeing none, we can move to open forum and announcements. Are there any announcements for this evening? I know if Beth or Mayor Jack Sear were here, she would say that, a reminder to everybody that Founders Day is coming. It's going to be March 4th, which I believe is a Saturday, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Founders Day is a celebration of the history and the roots of Bridgeport, where we've been, or where we came from, where we've been, and where we're going. I believe I've heard Mayor Jack Sear say. Looks like it's setting up to be, vendors in the parking lot, perhaps some food trucks, some activities, as well as a historical exhibit of sorts up here in council chambers. So, keep your ears tuned. Follow us on social media, and more information will be coming out in the very near future on that one. If we do not have any other announcements, I would proceed to public comment. Are there any members of the public that wish to step forward and speak this evening? Understood. Well, on that note, if there are none, council could certainly entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
All right, it's 8 o'clock. We are adjourned. Folks, thanks for coming out, and have a good evening, council. Have a good evening, everybody.